Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where you give us your sources and, well, we dig in to pull out the core knowledge you need.
Exactly. We help you get well informed pretty quickly, really.
Think of it as your shortcut to understanding what truly matters in the material you send us.
You give us the info, we find the insights, the surprising bits, maybe spark a few of those aha moments for you.
And today, we're diving into something really fascinating based on the book you shared. Remy Presas' Modern Arnis, The Filipino Art of Stick Fighting.
Ah, yeah. Published back in '83.
Right, and Presas, he was a real innovator, wasn't he? Really shaped this martial art.
Oh, absolutely. A pivotal figure. He's widely credited with taking all these different combat styles from across the Philippines.
So many islands.
Exactly. Thousands. And he, synthesized them into what he called modern arnis.
His book, it seems pretty comprehensive, covers the history, techniques.
It does. History, the core ideas, specific techniques, how he approached training, it's all in there.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive. Let's unpack the essential principles, maybe some key practices of modern Arnis, just as Professor Presas lays them out.
Sounds good. By the end, you listening should have a pretty solid grasp of the fundamentals.
All right, let's jump in. Where does Arnis even begin? You mentioned thousands of islands. Tracing that must be tough.
It is incredibly challenging. Think about it. Over 7,000 islands. Pinpointing one single origin. Almost impossible.
So different regions, different villages even, they develop their own ways.
Pretty much. Each area had its own unique methods for fighting with sticks, with blades. It evolved locally.
Were there outside influences too?
Oh, definitely. Over centuries, you see influences from India, Southeast Asia, China, Indonesia. Various groups migrating to the Philippines brought their martial traditions.
Like a melting pot.
Exactly. These traditions mixed and adapted to the local environments. You hear about early forms like tsakalele.
Indonesian fencing?
Right. And the term kali is another big one, often linked more with blade work, but the lines can be blurry. People often use kali, eskrima, and arnis somewhat interchangeably, though there are nuances.
Okay, so this complex mix exists, and then the Spanish arrive. How did that change things?
Big turning point. The Spanish conquistadors, they quickly realized how effective these Filipino fighting skills were.
They were impressed. Or maybe threatened.
Both, probably. They actually called the native stick fighting eskrima, which means skirmish, and they outlawed it, banned practicing it.
Outlawed, wow. How did it survive then?
It went underground, cleverly though. The techniques were preserved, kind of hidden in plain sight, woven into cultural dances and mock battles.
Combat battles.
Yeah, in these religious plays called moro-moro. These plays often showed Filipinos dressed as Spanish soldiers, wearing arnes, medieval armor.
Arnes, like armor.
Exactly. And the footwork, the blade forms used in these performances, virtually identical to the outlawed eskrima being practiced secretly. It was a form of resistance.
That's incredible. Using the conqueror's imagery to preserve their own fighting art.
Absolutely. And that word, arns, for the armor. It eventually morphed into arnis, which became another name for the martial art itself.
So that's where the name comes from.
Largely, yes. And historically, arnis covered, well, mainly three things. Espada y daga, that's sword and dagger.
Okay.
Solo baston, single stick fighting. And sinawali.
Sinawali. That's the two sticks, right? The weaving patterns?
That's the one. Sinawali actually means to weave, like the woven bamboo mats common there. The stick movements mimic that pattern.
Okay, so this rich, varied, sometimes hidden history exists.
Yeah.
Now bring in Remy Presas. How does he fit into this picture?
Right, Remy Presas, a real visionary. He spent years traveling the Philippines, studying all these diverse styles firsthand.
Soaking it all in.
Yeah, but not just collecting moves. His goal was to find the underlying principles, what made these different styles work.
The common threads.
Exactly. He synthesized these core principles into a cohesive system. And he brought in elements from other arts he knew too. Karate, judo, kenpo, even arnis de mono, which has these flowing, monkey-like moves.
So modern Arnis isn't just stick fighting.
No, not entirely. It uniquely blends empty hand techniques based on the same motions as the stick work. And unlike some other Filipino systems, Presas incorporated low kicks, takedowns, aiming for a more complete self-defense approach.
And he really pushed to promote it, right? Made it a national sport.
He did. He became a national figure, got arnis recognized, taught in schools. It shows the impact he had.
And he took it international too. That goodwill tour.
Yes, 1975. Sponsored by the government, came to the U.S., did seminars for, well, all sorts of groups, law enforcement, even senior citizens. Showed how practical it was, using bolos, doing sinawali.
Quite the ambassador.
Definitely. His teaching earned him a place in the Black Belt Hall of Fame in '82 Instructor of the Year.
High praise. Now, the book mentions a specific change he made to training. Something about hitting the stick instead of the hand.
Ah, yes. That was a key modernization. Traditionally, some Arnis styles involved, well, hitting your partner's hand or arm during training. With rattan sticks, sure, but
It's still painful, I bet.
could be, yeah.
Okay.
And potentially cause injuries. Presas realized that hitting stick on stick was just as effective for developing skills like blocking and timing.
But much safer.
Much safer. It made the art more accessible, less about enduring unnecessary pain during practice. A very practical change.
Makes total sense. Let's talk about this idea of the flow. It sounds really central to his philosophy.
It absolutely is. The flow is, it's fundamental. Presas wasn't about just memorizing techniques rigidly. No, he stressed understanding the principles behind the moves and then adapting those principles to your own body, your own natural way of moving, your intuitive feel.
So the method fits the person.
Exactly, not the other way around.
Yeah.
The flow is that state where the principles just blend seamlessly with how you move. It becomes natural, personalized, effective. It's about embodying the art.
Internalizing it, not just mimicking.
Precisely. And he even simplified how he taught beginners, like sinawali, the two-stick weaving.
Yeah.
He'd often start teaching it just with hand motions, like almost like playing patty cake, you know?
Oh, your patty cake.
Yeah, to get the rhythm, the coordination down before even picking up the sticks.
That's clever. Makes it less intimidating.
Right. And to give structure, he systematized things around 12 key angles of attack.
Yeah.
And 12 basic defenses, one for each angle. It provides a clear framework for learning.
12 angles, 12 defenses. Logical.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the history, Presas' vision. Let's get into some specifics. The grip seems basic, but I guess it matters.
Oh, absolutely crucial. It's the foundation. The book says, think of a firm handshake.
Okay.
Hold the stick, fold your thumb firmly over your first finger. Secure.
Why not thumb on top?
Big no-no. Leaves your thumb totally exposed. Easy target for an opponent's stick, could get hit, even dislocated.
Ouch. Makes sense.
And also keep the wrists relaxed. You need that for fluidity, for snap in your strikes and blocks. Too tight and you're slow and less powerful.
Right. Relaxation for speed. Okay, what about stances? Are they fixed positions you hold?
Interestingly, no. Presas emphasized fluidity. Stances aren't static poses you lock into.
More like dynamic postures.
Exactly. The body moves into the right stance for the situation. But there are fundamental stances you learn, like the attention stance is closed, heels together and open, feet shoulder width, used mainly for the courtesy, the salute.
Like a ready position?
Sort of, yeah. Then there's the open leg ready stance, feet shoulder width, knees bent slightly, stick out at an angle, other hand up guarding, prepping for a frontal attack.
Okay.
The straddle stance is wider, deeper knee bend, lower center of gravity, more stability.
More grounded.
Right. Then you have forward stances, right and left. Weight even, trump forward, one leg slightly ahead.
For moving in.
Can be. And back stances right and left. Weight shifted to the rear foot, feet in an L shape. More defensive, usually.
Got it.
And finally, the oblique forward stance. Like a forward stance, but your trunk is twisted, facing an attack from an angle. More weight on the front foot, deeper knee bend.
So a stance for different directions.
Pretty much. And in all of them, heels and toes generally stay down, connected to the ground for smooth movement.
Adaptable, but grounded. Now, body shifting, the book stresses this too. Why is moving the body so important?
Vital. Absolutely vital. It's how you get out of the way of an attack.
Evade.
Right. Evade the line of attack, but also how you close the distance to respond. Block, counter, disarm, whatever.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Book mentions, say, against a forehand strike coming at you. Stepping forward at a 45-degree angle gets you offline and closer.
Okay.
Conversely, if you're too close when they attack, stepping back at 45 degrees creates space, but keeps you ready to engage. It's about managing distance and angles dynamically.
Constant adjustment. Okay, before the strikes themselves, what about the courtesy? The salute seems important for discipline.
It is. Respect and discipline are key. The Modern Arnis salute is specific. Start facing your partner, feet together, closed attention stance, stick held horizontally. Then, move to an open leg stance, step 1 foot back, raise the stick vertically in one hand, tip up.
Other hand.
Flat on your chest, over the heart, then back to the open leg stance, stick horizontal again. It's formal respect for your partner, for the art, and helps center you.
Nice ritual. Okay, let's get to the action. The 12-zone striking system. The book says these are vital targets and a training sequence.
Correct, on both counts. The 12 zones are key vulnerable areas. Temples, shoulders, stomach, groin, chest, knees, eyes, crown of the head.
Sounds serious.
Very. The book stresses strikes here can cause major injury. You need to understand the impact.
Definitely. So why practice them as a numbered sequence, 1 through 12?
It does a few things. It teaches the primary angles of attack you'll face. It builds coordination and the body mechanics needed to strike effectively from those angles.
And provides a common language.
Exactly. When the book talks about defending strike, #3, everyone knows what that angle is. The drill itself is usually done continuously, flowing, shifting your body naturally into stances for power.
Right hand, left hand.
Both. Got to practice both sides equally. Ambidexterity is important.
Can you walk us through, say, strike #1 and #2, just to visualize it?
Sure. Strike #1. Usually a forehand diagonal downward strike to the opponent's left temple.
Okay.
You might step forward right, draw the stick back by your right ear, then swing diagonally down and across, following through towards your left side.
Ready for the next one.
Right. Strike #2 follows immediately. Backhand, diagonal downward to the opponent's right temple.
So mirror image.
Pretty much. From the end of #1, step forward right again. Stick comes around behind your head, backhand swing down to the right temple, follow through, back towards your right. See how it flows, creates a rhythm.
Yeah, I can picture that continuous motion. Okay, so for each attack, there's a defense. Let's use #1 and #2 again. How do you defend against strike #1, that forehand to the left temple? With a stick first.
Okay, stick defense versus #1. Opponent attacks. You sidestep right, get off the line.
Move away.
As you move, execute an outside block with your stick. Intercept their strike. Immediately, your left hand comes up, checks their right hand or forearm. Control the weapon arm.
Check and control.
Then, counterstrike. Draw your stick back, hit a target chest, stomach, whatever's open.
Okay, what if you're unarmed against that same strike? #1.
Same principle.
Yeah.
Move offline, control the weapon hand, sidestep right again, but instead of a stick block, use your right forearm to deflect their strike.
Deflect. Okay.
Left hand checks their striking hand, just like before. Then follow up with an empty hand strike solar plexus, groin. See the translation?
Yeah, the core movement is the same, armed or unarmed. That's efficient. What about strike #2? The backhand to the right temple. Stick defense first.
Right, for #2. This time, sidestep left. Again, off the line, execute an inside block with your stick.
Inside block this time.
Yes. Immediately after blocking, your left hand comes across, checks or grabs their right hand forearm. Control, then counterstrike with your stick, maybe to their left temple.
Makes sense. And unarmed against strike #2.
Sidestep left again. Use your left hand this time to block their incoming right hand.
Left hand block.
Then your right hand might check their arm, maybe sweep under your left for leverage, then an unarmed strike ribs, groin. The book notes the exact blocking hand might vary sometimes, empty hand versus stick, depending on flow, but the idea to evade, block, control, counter stays the same.
That consistency is really key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes the system seem very integrated. Now, trapping hands, how does that fit in?
Trapping hands really shows how stick patterns apply directly to close-in, empty hand fighting. Say someone throws a right punch.
Yeah.
Using the same ideas, you'd shift slightly right, use your right hand to parry, or brush their punching wrist away, deflect it.
Get it offline.
Right. As you do that, your left hand comes up, checks or grabs their right wrist forearm, limit their movement.
Control again.
Then your right hand, after the parry, can snake up, maybe under your left elbow, and deliver a backhand strike to their head. You can even pull with your left hand as you strike with your right, adding impact.
Wow, so the stick drills are teaching fundamental defense patterns. What about flow practice with sticks? What's that look like?
Flow practice is where you and a partner start putting it all together more spontaneously. Less preset sequence, more dynamic back and forth.
Like sparring, but maybe slower.
Kind of. One person might feed slow, continuous attacks from different angles. The other responds with blocks or parries, immediately followed by light counter slices or taps, often to the attacker's stick arm.
So constant movement.
Yeah, a continuous weave of sticks and free hands. Defense flows into offense and back again. The goal is to get comfortable with that dynamic exchange, build reflexes, timing, really feel the flow without hesitation.
Moving beyond single techniques. And sinawali, the two-stick weaving, how does that help practically?
Sinawali, meaning to weave, is huge for coordination, ambidexterity, understanding timing, and angles with sticks or blades. It's about precise, rhythmic motions with two sticks at once.
Were there different patterns?
Several basic ones: single, double, reverse sinawali. Usually practiced with a partner, both doing the same pattern, sticks crisscrossing and clashing rhythmically.
Looks impressive.
It is. But crucially, the book points out you should practice the motions without sticks too, just hands. This shows how the weaving translates directly to empty hand defense against weapons parrying, deflecting using similar movements.
Again, that transferability. Okay, finally, stick disarming. How do you actually take someone's stick away?
Disarming is vital. The book gives examples against the 12 strikes. Against strike, #1, that high forehand.
Yeah.
You might sidestep, inside block with your stick, immediately grab their wrist forearm with your free hand.
Grab and block.
Then, quick coordinated move. Twist their stick counterclockwise while pressing with your stick. Use leverage to break their grip.
Leverage is key. Another example, maybe against strike #2, the backhand.
Okay, verse #2. Maybe an outside block with your stick. Then immediately scoop your free hand inside their forearm. Wind your arm clockwise.
Winding motion.
Yeah, it can pin their stick against your forearm, put pressure on their wrist. Again, using leverage to make them drop it. It's always block, control the weapon hand, then apply the disarm.
Timing, coordination, leverage. Got it.
Uh,
The book even mentions empty hand disarms against a sword. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
it is. And the book is clear. These are advanced techniques, need tons of training, extreme caution.
But the principles are the same.
Fundamentally, yes. Shift to evade, block parry to control the weapon, use leverage and joint locks. An example against an overhead sword / maybe a strong cross block with your forearms.
Intercepted.
Grab their wrist, maybe both hands, quick elbow strike to their arm, pivot your body for a better angle, apply a shoulder lock to control and force the drop. It shows how adaptable Arnis is, but yeah, very high risk. Requires serious practice with qualified people.
It really drives home the depth of the system. From a simple grip to disarming a sword, it's all connected by those core ideas: movement, control, leverage.
Exactly. It's remarkable how Presas synthesized all these Filipino traditions into something coherent, teachable, emphasizing that individual flow and the link between armed and unarmed skills.
So let's wrap this up. Key takeaways for you, our listener, from this deep dive into Presas' Modern Arnis. We've hit the history, Presas' philosophy, the basics like stances, body shifting, the 12 strikes, and how stick and empty hand techniques connect trapping, flow, sinawali, disarms.
Right. It's clearly more than just stick fighting. It's a whole system.
Yeah.
Adaptable based on fundamental movements that work armed or unarmed. Presas modernized it, made it accessible, but kept that core effectiveness and that focus on the flow, making it your art.
That's really stuck with me. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? This idea of the flow, adapting core principles to your own feel, your own mechanics. Could you apply that elsewhere in life?
Like learning any new skill or tackling a challenge.
Yeah. Understanding the fundamentals, but then finding your way to apply them, your own flow. And the way Arnis moves between armed and unarmed, like it speaks to adaptability, right? Using whatever tools you have, including just yourself, effectively in whatever situation arises.
That's a great point. Which leads to a final thought for you listening. What part of Modern Arnis did you find most surprising or maybe most interesting?
Did the history grab you? The philosophy of flow, the techniques?
And what other questions does this spark? Maybe you're curious about different sinawali patterns now, or how those empty hand disarms really work in detail.
Something to reflect on. Maybe even explore further if it sparked your interest.